As a true Dominican, I really think we could make it. But as a people, we have to learn to commit. Journey ahead will never be smooth and sweet. But as an ambitious nation, we have to be upbeat. I know we have done it before, so we can do it again. All the pain we've endured, but pride we have to maintain in order to create a better world. Every living soul has to play their role. We have an opportunity to change things around, an opportunity to change things, an opportunity to make Dominica strong. We have an opportunity to change things around, an opportunity to change things, an opportunity to make Dominica strong. We got to stamp out the devil, stamp out all evil, jealousy, not by me, certainly. We got to stamp out greediness, stamp out wickedness, jealousy, not by me, certainly. Tomorrow is the first day of the rest of our lives. Let's make tomorrow the first day of the rest of our life. We have an opportunity to change things around, an opportunity to change things, an opportunity to make our country strong. Whoa. Change. Whoa. Whoa. I remember the love and unity that we once shared. Starting from the home, the children would be prepared. There was a daily part of our living. This society would be part of our children upbringing. We used to eat everything we grow and grow everything we eat. But smiling faces would glow and the people were real discreet. We need to go back to where we were. Otherwise we'll witness things we never seen before. Opportunity to change things around, an opportunity to change things, an opportunity to make Dominica strong. We have an opportunity to change things around, an opportunity to change things, an opportunity to make Dominica strong. We got to stamp out the ugly, stamp out cruelty, jealousy, not by we, certainly. We got to fight hypocrisy, all conspiracy, jealousy, not by we, certainly. Tomorrow is the first day.
All right, folks. Yes, we are here. The Civic Vibes team is here with you, and we always welcome you each and every time to our program that is streamed from the 6 o'clock hour right here on the social media things. We are streaming this program on Facebook and also on YouTube, and we also do it on Twitter as well. Today being the 1st of September. Welcome to September. Yes, September 2024, and we are all set and ready to go. The song, folks, that we usually start this program with was done by Joy Stout sometime back in the Calypso competition sometime back. It's entitled Opportunity to Change. Yes, and to change, we mean better for our country, Dominica. So we want to thank Joy Stout for doing that number sometime back, and we always use that song sometime to sort of give the program that impetus that it needs in terms of that positive outlook that we normally usually generate right here on Civic Vibes. So yes, call a friend, let them know that the program is on. Please share the live feed as we are moving on here, because once we take flight, as it were, then you don't want to miss anything indeed. This evening, ladies and gentlemen, another packed program awaits you. Let me first apologize on behalf of the co-host of the program, Mr. Alvin Thomas. He's not here tonight, bang on 6 o'clock, but he will be, he assured me that he should be making his entrance sometime later. So Alvin, wherever you are this time, I hope that you and the family, you guys are doing pretty well. All of you logged into the live feed at this time, thank you very much for your eyes and ears each and every time. The weather in my neck of the woods sort of, you know, rain, stop, Now and then we have these intermittent showers, but we are in the season for that. And so we expect that each and every time. This evening, folks, we have two segments to the program. The first segment, we're going to look into a discussion with two erudite young people, I must say, a miss and a mister. They're going to introduce themselves to you in just a bit. We're going to talk about the grand reunion for 2025. So you don't want to miss, especially those of you in the Wesley and surrounding area. Please tell a friend, as they say, please tell Lou to tell Sue that we have two representatives in just a bit. You're going to hear from them talking about that grand reunion that is planned for the St. Andrews High School. So those of you, that is your alma mater, that was your alma mater, thank you very much. You want to share that live information and you want to pay particular attention at this time. That will be the first segment of things. So I ask you to just come around that information table now to hear what the two representatives have to say about that grand reunion that is planned for 2025. Then the second segment, we'll be talking to a businessman, no stranger to us in Dominica, Mr. Michael Astafan. He'll be speaking to us about some of the concerns surrounding our utility companies in Dominica. And so for sure, that concerns all of us in Dominica. So that is where, all of us need to stay to hear just what Mr. Astafan has to bring to the table to us in terms of our utility companies and some things that are happening right there, our utility companies. So folks, it is 10 minutes past the good old hour of 6 o'clock. And again, welcome to all of you to the Civic Vibes space at this time. Without saying much more, let me move across now to the two representatives from the St. Andrews High School here, Mr. Robin and Miss Irish. Good evening to you, sir. Mr. Robin, I'll take you first. How are you, brother?
I'm doing well, Lofty. Nice being on your show. Good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's a pleasure to be here. It's a pleasure to be here indeed. Mr. Robin, thank you for choosing that space to come and share some of the information read at Grand Reunion.
Thank you, Lofty. We want to just let everybody know that something great is going to be happening in the northeast of Dominica and in Dominica on the whole, because I think this reunion is going to be one of the biggest Dominica has ever seen.
Wow. So that is great things to come, Mr. Robin.
Yes, we're looking forward to it. And we are getting tremendous support from all the past students in the diaspora. First, let me just introduce myself. I'm Everton Robin. I'm better known as Banker. I'm from the village of Wesley. I attended the Dominica Grammar School in the early 70s, and after the hurricane in 79, when they opened St. Andrews High School, we were some of the first students to attend there. So I attended St. Andrews from 79, graduated in 82, and continued there as a teacher for about 7 years before I migrated from Dominica in 1989. So St. Andrews has always been very dear to my heart, and it has made me, in part the man I am today. So we want to do, whatever we can to make this reunion really great.
Wow, indeed. Thank you very much, Mr. Robin. So you're going to bring on for us here this evening the sort of student/teacher experience in terms of the discuss.
Sort of, yes.
Yes, indeed. Thank you indeed. We now turn our attention to smiling, always smiling, have a nice smile on the face, Miss Catherine Irish. Good evening to you, my friend.
Good evening, Lofty, and good evening to your audience.
Special good evening to you, Miss Irish. Welcome to this space, the Civic Vibes space. First time you're on it first, but we always cherish people who are here for the very first time and wish you that you do come back indeed to share much more, not of just us, but the Dominican public by and large.
Yes, thank you so much for, giving us this opportunity, this space to share our much excited information about the Grand Reunion 2025. So as Banky did in introducing himself, I will follow suit. As you rightly said, I am Catherine Irish. I hail from the village of Marigot, and I too attended St. Andrews High School from 1988 to 1993. And I too also taught at the institution, but I did not have such a long stint as Banky. Mine was very short, but I was very happy for the opportunity to teach at my alma mater, and I think it helped me to grow as an individual.
Yes, indeed. So I'm hearing a feedback. I'm hearing a reverb. Okay. All right. Yeah, I think it is. All right. So thank you very much, Miss Irish, Mr. Robin. Thank you guys for coming on, as I said, and sharing with us, the listening public and viewing public as well, about the grand reunion 2025 that you guys are planning. Just before you guys really take into, you know, the meatier of the matters, just why, what brought about the idea of having that grand reunion for 2025 where St. Andrews High School is concerned?
Well, as you know, and as the Dominican public would know, that St. Andrews High School closed its doors in 2006. And I think your question is very important. So since the school closed in 2006, there has been a buzz throughout the alumni to have a grand reunion, because the general idea is that we love our school so much, and we all think that the institution was such a great institution. And we are saddened, so to speak, that the institution is no more. And we feel that it is necessary that we rekindle the whole idea of the institution. And so we feel that many of the persons who passed through the doors of St. Andrews High School have excelled in one area or the other across throughout Dominica and across the diaspora. And we feel that to have a grand reunion, to have these group of people come together so that we can network and pool resources to the expected end, to have a greater good in the community that gave us St. Andrews, and so that we can give back to those communities.
Yes,
love to hear that. So here's one of the things that also, just to add to what Catherine said, one of the things that we have as our motto is St. Andrews High School, our foundation, our legacy. And this tells us that St. Andrews has been very dear to us, you know, because we want to highlight that St. Andrews has been our foundation. And St. Andrews has put out maybe over 2,000 graduates over the past, from its inception to the time it transitioned to the Northeast in 2006. There are past students all over the world, literally. And not only that, but they are professionals. Some of them are doctors, some of them are nurses, some of them, they are all different professions. And so we want to remember where we started from. So that's why we use the theme, our foundation, our legacy. So we are trying to, because of how we feel about our alma mater, we really want to let that spirit live on. And that's the real basis for the reunion. So we are really hoping that everyone who can will support us and, you know, book their tickets, come to Dominica for that time, and let's have a really grand time so we can go back through some nostalgic experiences and remember the fun we had while we attended St. Andrews.
Wow, very, very, very interesting indeed. So coming together, as you said, with that grand reunion, people coming together. What is it at the end of the day that you guys would want to achieve?
Okay, you want to take that first, Catherine?
I can. So the idea is that because the alumni is sort of spread out throughout the world, we thought it best that the reunion would sort of bring us together, help us to network with each other. So that would be a starting point for us to pool our resources, whether it's financial expertise, or whatever resources that um, is within that group of people, and with the idea of us having to develop something even greater. We are not sure as yet what the greater would be, but it's sort of to spark that shift.
Okay.
So that we can start thinking of the numerous possibilities of how we can have that legacy live on.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, yeah, and to add to that, what Catherine said is so very true. But I kind of recall in 79, because I used to go to grammar school. I actually repeated the third form in grammar school, because when our children from the north used to have to jump on a truck early in the morning, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, when it was still dark, put bags of provision on top of those trucks to bring to houses in Roseau, by people that we used to live with. And I had difficulty learning because I was not home. The environment was in some. As a matter of fact, I think I moved through about 6 different homes when we were had to go to school in Roseau. But when they opened the school in the north, St. Andrews, my whole approach to high school changed. I excelled from a regular student to an A student. I did extremely well, to the effect that I became a teacher afterwards. So St. Andrews really represented something really precious to us. So one of the reasons why we want to have the reunion is to give back. There are lots of professionals coming down with us. Some of the best doctors in the US who are past St. Andrews students coming down to the area. And one of the activities we're going to have is a health and wellness fair, where we are going to, meet people, treat them, and do different things that I'm sure we'll talk about later. But we want to give back. We want to keep our St. Andrews spirit alive. We want to keep our past students in communication with each other. And we just want the memory of St. Andrews to live on. And that's what we're hoping to achieve in the reunion.
Wow. And I'm seeing thank you. And I'm seeing some photos in your background, Brother Robin. Would I be correct to say that these are some of the memories that you cherish St. Andrews?
That is correct. The building you see in the back here, it used to be the old, if you remember, St. Londonderry used to have a youth camp. They used to train, do military training there for some of these folks from around the Caribbean. And I think after their contract was up or something like that, the Methodist Church, actually, thanks to the Methodist Church, because they're the ones who actually managed the St. Andrews High School during that time. As a matter of fact, our first principal was Dr. Richley Gams, who passed some years ago. So this was the auditorium. And this auditorium has a lot of good memories for us. That's where I graduated from high school. I'm sure that's where Catherine graduated also, And the building on the side, on my right side, was the staff room. And so all these buildings have really good memories. We had one of the first laboratories in high school in Dominica, and that was the building right there. So it was like a campus. It was really, really a great place to go to school.
Wow. Yes, indeed. based on the photos that depicted there, I had some sightings of the school. You know, I passed there a couple of times, but it was a very, very interesting, very good school indeed, I must say. And sad to say, as Catherine said earlier, in terms of its closure. You're mute.
Yes.
I think they actually want, at the time when they were building, when they were talking about the international airport, I think they decided to use the space, and that's why they moved the school over on the other side of the street and became the Northeast Comprehensive. But this was really a great area for high school.
Yeah, indeed. Folks, if you're tuning in now, it is 23 minutes past 6 o'clock. We're talking to Mr. Robin and Miss Irish, representatives of the talking about a grand reunion plan, representing the cause for that reunion for 2025. By the way, people, what is the date? What is the month of that grand reunion?
So we have decided on the 6th to 12th of July, 2025. And that date came about where we had to do a poll both on our Facebook page and our general WhatsApp chat.
July, what you said?
July 6th to 12th.
Okay, thank you.
2025. So we had to do a poll to determine the date, and the poll produced that date where the majority of persons voted for those dates to have the reunion. And out of that, we formed an executive planning committee. And out of that planning committee, we also formed some subcommittees in the name of NECS Outreach, Banquet Committee, Fundraising Committee, Data Collection Committee, I think I'm missing one, and PR Committee. I think, did I say fundraising?
And the sports, we have a sports.
Yes, of course. How could I forget sports? Because Sports Day was a mecca event at St. Andrews High School. So what we try to do based on our school culture and the idea of giving back, we sort of form committees that will take care of certain things under that broader umbrella. And so we our banquet committee, they're going to plan the opening church service, for want of a better word. And we have the sports day / cookout day committee. So we are going to sort of reenact a St. Andrew Sports Day. I'm not sure how many of the past students who were athletes, including myself, I was a sprinter, but I'm not sure if I'll be able to take part in that sports day. So we're gonna have events. Some of them are going to be like more fun events in the sports day, like lime and spoon and sack race and those kinds of things. And we also planning a cookout. In addition to those things, right now, our fundraising committee, they're getting ready to roll out a fundraiser, a food sale actually in Antigua, because as was mentioned before, we have past St. Andrew students all over the globe. So they're planning a food sale in Antigua sometime in October. We will inform the St. Andrews community about the date further down, but we just want people to be aware that this is something that's coming up. Also, the fundraising committee, they should be rolling out selling the reunion t-shirts very soon and other memorabilia very soon, which of course we will be informing them as the time comes.
Yes, indeed. Anything else, Mr. Robin? Thank you very much, Mr. Anything else?
Well, Catherine mentioned the banquet. I mean, personally, there's some things I'm looking forward to. That banquet is one of those things that I'm looking forward to, because I can imagine there are going to be hundreds of past St. Andrew students there, all formally dressed, some of them with their wives and their children, and lots of friends whom I haven't seen in over 35, 40 years, that we're going to be meeting up again and meeting up in a very great environment and having a really good time. I see this having also a very big impact on the economy of Dominica, because we are talking about, I mean, so far we have, as I said, we have over 2,000 persons who actually graduated, and that doesn't include others who just went to St. Andrews and has not graduated. We've spoken to persons who never even went to St. Andrews who are planning to come and excited. And by the way, Catherine said that we chose July 6th to 12th because it was just the majority because that was the consensus. But also for me, that's the hat of the mango season, So it's the summertime, so I'm really looking forward to it. As a matter of fact, I always try to plan my trips to Dominica when the mango season is on. So I'm looking forward to that. So I think the Northeast from Atkinson to Calibishi, where those were all the students going to St. Andrews, those communities are going to see a really good impact economically. I was saying to people, get stuff to sell, also living accommodation is something that we're going to have to be concerned about. So it's going to be big for Dominica. So we really want to get the Dominicans aware, that this is going to happen next year.
And one thing it slipped me. One of the subcommittees is the Health and Wellness Committee. And as Banky rightly said, we have many qualified doctors and nurses and other persons in the medical field. So we have a team of these medical professionals, and so they are planning to have a health and wellness day, so to speak. We are still working out the exact location and how we're going to really execute this health and wellness. But the idea keeps in line with us wanting to give back to the communities that that St. Andrews High School served, and that served St. Andrews High School as well. And so we feel that that would be a very constructive way and significant way in giving back to the community. We also have so as the time goes by, once we iron out the details about the health and wellness, that would be relayed to the communities as to how it is going to take place. But I know we're going to have blood pressure and sugar checks, and we're going to have some health talks. There might also be some fun activity, like maybe you have a little exercise session going on and things like that. And in keeping in line with the giving back, the NECS, which is the Northeast Comprehensive School, we have an outreach committee for that. And even if St. Andrews is no more, and I know sometimes people like to say, well, it's the same thing, but it's under St. Andrews was under a different management. It's different. NECCS is a government school, and it also brought under its umbrella the other secondary school, which was in Marigot, which was I think the Foundation High School. So all of those schools have come. Persons who would have gone maybe to St. Andrews High School or to Foundation High Secondary School are now going to the Northeast Comprehensive. But we are all one people, and the Northeast Comprehensive now serves these communities that St. Andrews once served. And so we want to be able to create that connection with the existing school and to find out what are the needs of the school, how it is based on the pool of resources that we may have, how can we give back to that school and the community or communities on a whole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm hoping out of this whole reunion also a connection be birthed with all our past students, you know, because imagine having that connection, hence the need for our data collection, you know, having that connection with all our past students who are professionals out there in the world. We can come back to the country at different times to mentor people. We can, you know, use our skill sets to come back to you know, organize planned events in the future, you know. But once we can keep that body together, you know, we can actually use that team for the good of our country.
Banky mentioned the data collection. So I just want to expound a little bit on that because we are, talking about the data collection and people may be wondering, well, what is this about? So in order for us to have an idea of how many persons are um, intending to attend the grand reunion, that's one. And on a secondary level, we also want to get data on the resources that we have in the alumni. So we know we have doctors and other professionals, accountants, graphic designers, and the whole works. So we want to be able to have this information in one place so that wherever there is a need, we can reach out to these individuals or groups of people who would be civic minded and and can remember about, St. Andrews poured into them, and St. Andrews was a foundation for them, and St. Andrews has a very good legacy, and that they can buy into that idea, and hopefully they can register on the form. So we have a Google registration form to capture this data. And it is where, it's mostly basic information, your name, where you live, email address, phone number if you wish. We also ask for the preferred mode of communication, whether it be by phone or email, so that we know how to better or easily reach you or whoever fills in the form. So it is very important to us that uh, the past students and teachers as well fill in this form so that we can get the information we need to help us to further develop uh, this idea of the St. Andrews, our foundation, our legacy.
Yeah, so basically, folks, what I'm getting from you guys there, as Brother Cameron mentioned, well, not Cameron, Banky Robin.
That's close. That's close.
That's close enough. Yeah. Brother Robin mentioned is that it's sort of you guys had that foundation and you want to continue in terms of your giving back to younger people, young students in that general vicinity. What you guys got from St. Andrews High School, you want that to be partner of your legacy in terms of you inculcating in them some things that you were taught, and also they also can benefit from that foundation that you guys had.
Correct.
Yes, certainly, because with the outreach, the NECS outreach, we plan to have a career day. Um, Again, details are being, sorted out as to how it would take place. I think there was a discussion about having one where the people on the ground in Dominica, the professionals who past students and teachers of the St. Andrews High School will conduct that career day, and there is also um uh, you know, discussions about having a second one when the reunion itself is on the ground, that we could probably have another one where um people from the alumni who are into careers that are maybe not yet part of the Dominica environment, or probably just in their early stages. So, you know, we have the traditional careers like accountants, doctors, lawyers, but there are so many career avenues these days. So we want to help to bring that menu to our students in the Northeast, that they can get they can have a taste, a palette for various career choices, and that they can know that, you know, there is no limit to what the possibilities are in terms of having a career.
Yes, indeed. Folks, it is 20 minutes to the hour of 7 o'clock. We have just like 5 more minutes to hear the discussion with our guest here, Brother Robin, and also Miss Irish. So if you want to call into, if you want to chime into the conversation now, we have two numbers that are designated to call in. They are 245-2396. I just plugged in these numbers in the live feed earlier. And also 615-9470. These are the two numbers, so please make good use of those two numbers within, you know, just about the 5-10 minutes time we have with our guests here. They're talking about a grand reunion that is planned for the 6th to the 12th of July, 2025. And based on what I've been hearing so far, trust me, it is going to be a grand reunion indeed, where persons from all walks of life who attended the St. Andrews High School will descend in Dominica and just be part of that grand occasion where they'll continue to give back to a community, in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Thank you for saying that, Lofty, because we want the St. Andrews community to know that the grand reunion is for everybody. So whether you graduated from St. Andrews or not, it's for everyone. So it's not for persons who graduated. It's for everyone. So if you attended St. Andrews for 1 year, we consider you part of our St. Andrews family, and we want you to attend. And it's open as well to our past teachers, because our teachers were very critical in our learning and our foundation, and helping us to carry on our legacy. And for the Methodist Church, the Methodist Church is an integral part. We cannot speak about St. Andrews High School without speaking about the Methodist Church. The Methodist Church were the founders of St. Andrews High School. The school started in October of 1979 after Hurricane David, out of the necessity for secondary education in the from the north to northeast communities, which the St. Andrews Parish encompasses those communities, north and northeast communities. St. Andrews Parish is the largest parish on Dominica.
Yep. And for that reason, Lofty, we're going to start off the reunion with a church service at the Methodist Church. They are going to really be the ones to launch this great grand reunion for us on that date. So we are looking forward to that great service again. I want to highlight or just emphasize the importance of everyone in the reachable voices who can who wants to be a part of this, to fill out the contact information form. That is one of the hope that we have in having this discussion, that we could make this form available to persons out there in the diaspora. Fill out the form. It really doesn't ask for very personal information, just your phone number and email address. and then we need that to stay in touch with you. So far, we've had 382 persons fill that form out already. And out of that, I'm very excited to say that over 71% already say, yes, I'm going to be there. That's about 263 persons who have actually decided that they're going to come. About 16% said maybe they're still on the fence. So I think we have about 34, about 9% still undecided. So we are looking forward to having, at least 500 more persons in Dominica on that date. So it's really going to be big and it's going to make an impact. But please fill out the form, and once you fill the form out, send the form to your friends who went to St. Andrews. I spoke to someone who went to St. Andrews for 2 months. I said, yes, you can be part of the reunion. Fill out the form, send it to your friends, spread the form all over the globe. Let them know that we are having this great reunion coming up next year.
And speaking about that form, where can the number of people out there get that form or get hold of that form?
All right, so Lofty, I'm glad you asked that. The form is available on our St. Andrews High School past student Facebook page. We pinned it to the top so they could easily find it. I also send it to you in an email. So I'm hoping you could, attach it to your Facebook page for a while in connection with this discussion that we are having for some time, so they could also find it there, but you might want to confirm that also.
Okay, just give us the name of the Facebook page again, please.
It's the St. Andrews High School Past Student Association.
Okay, cool.
Correction, sorry. It's St. Andrews High School, Dominica.
Oh, yeah? Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
St. Andrews High School, Dominica.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Let me see if we have some comments or question on the live feed. Okay, I think the comment I'm seeing there doesn't really pertain to the discussion we're having there. So yeah, we can move on. Folks, again, yes, if you're tuning in now, you're late for the discussion, but rather late than never. We're talking to Mr. Robin and also Miss Irish, two persons representing the Grand Reunion plan for July of 2025. Called to be on the 6th to the 12th. So that week basically will be buzzing up in the northeastern belt of Dominica, where a number of people, all walks of life, a lot of professionals just coming back. And as Ms. Irish said before, at that activity or these activities, then more heads will be there, more thinking caps will be put on. And so they will take it from there as to just where they will be going with that in terms of the giving back to community, as it were, as the St. Andrews High School is concerned.
Most definitely. And we on the planning committee, we are excited. We're excited about the event, and we want the support of the alumni. And I know there are some people who are excited about the event. Some people are, making their plans to come, but we want to get as many people as possible on board on this exciting train for the Grand Reunion 2025. And I would just like to say one thing about our St. Andrews logo. I'm not sure if you can see it behind me, but the original logo is basically has not changed. And the motto of the school was all striving, all achieving. And I think that's a very easy motto to follow. And I can speak for myself, but I think I can speak for many others who pass through the doors that motto has stuck to them throughout their lives. And so when we were designing the logo for the Grand Reunion, the consensus was that we wanted to maintain the integrity of the original logo, right? Which is the arch shape, and it has the all striving, all achieving. all that is original, the initials STAHS, that's original. But we also acknowledged that many St. Andrews students are all over the globe. And so we incorporated parts of the globe in the inner circle of the logo. And we also wanted to maintain our Dominican roots. So hence, we have the map of Dominica on either side of the logo. And we wanted to come up with a tagline that was catchy or is catchy, but really spoke to the essence of what St. Andrews High School was all about. And so we came up with our foundation, our legacy.
Very, very useful information indeed. Let me just take a couple points, a couple comments rather from the live feed here, and then ask you guys for your closing or parting comments in just a bit before we bring down the curtains on things here. Marshall Lawrence writes here, interesting reunion indeed. Ronnie Rui Matthew says, this is going to be a grand event. He said, I'm going to be there. Thank you, Ronnie, for pledging your support. Peter Carbon says, the rebirth of our country depends on professionals who got their foundation in our homeland. I am assuming he's suggesting that these professionals should come back to give to Dominica and Dominicans by extension.
Well, thank you. I didn't get the first name. Marshall
Lawrence, Mr. Lawrence.
Marshall, Ronnie, and Peter, thank you all so much for your comment. And so we are excited about the reunion, and we are hoping, as we recognize that in the St. Andrews community, that we need to use our expertise and our professionalism to, as we said, give back, network, and help to build back our community and make it even better than it is right now.
Yes, indeed. So guys, you know what they say when good information has been dispensed or disseminated, time flies. And so we're already 10 to 7, 5 minutes gone beyond our time, but now it's just time to, I'll give you guys to wrap up, drive home a couple points, and then yes, we're gonna bring it to a wrap.
Yeah. Well, I just want to say thanks, Lofty, for having us. I think your show is always great. I always look at your show, and some of them that from the past, play them over again. So we just want to thank you for having us on your show. But I want to really emphasize, folks, those of you who are listening to us, please try to reach out to that Facebook page for the St. Andrews High School Dominica Facebook page and fill out that contact information form. We are always and will always continue to be proud to be St. Andrews High School past students, because St. Andrews has really made a difference for almost everyone from Atkinson and I think even Casa Bruce to Calibishi, students who would not have otherwise gotten an opportunity to get a secondary education had the opportunity to go into a physics lab, into a biology lab, to a computer lab, and became professionals. This is deep, So we like the tagline that we have, our foundation, our legacy. And we are so proud to come back to Dominica grown and professionals, and to give back and to celebrate our foundation, our legacy.
Yes, indeed. And Mr. Robin, on behalf of Civic Vibes, you say that you always listen or watch the programs. Thank you very, very much indeed. We appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Yes, Miss Irish, your closing comments?
Yeah, so I just want to reiterate the reunion date. It's 6 to 12 July 2025. I also want to remind persons about the upcoming fundraiser in that's going to take place in Antigua in October. Look out for the sale of the T-shirts and other memorabilia. Read the St. Andrews and the Grand Reunion 2025, and to also fill in the data collection form if you have not yet done so, and to reach out to myself. I'm on Facebook. I'm not using my name on Facebook, but I am visible on Facebook, so I'm not hard to find. And reach out to me. Some people have my contact number, or they can find somebody who knows my contact number. And also reach out to Banker or our executive chair, Wilworth Robin. He's very visible on Facebook. He's managing many Facebook pages, and a lot of people know him or know of him. So we are just asking persons to buy in the idea of the Grand Reunion, support whatever activities that we will be having leading up to the Grand Reunion, and to also support the Grand Reunion itself.
Yes, indeed. Thank you very much, Ms. Irish. Someone is just writing here as we close. Thank you for an interesting conversation. Agriculture, that person says, and that person is no other than Mr. Rondell Thomas, educationist by profession. He says agriculture was also an important aspect of St. Andrews High School program. I didn't hear that mentioned. It was located on the former youth camp site. The camp was big, very big on agriculture, he said.
Yes, it was agriculture. I did agriculture double award at CXC, so I did agriculture as a CXC subject. And yes, agriculture was a big part. I mean, we in the heart of the agriculture
Yes.
community in Dominica. So agricultural science, and let's it was agricultural science. It wasn't just agriculture in having a backyard garden. The subject agricultural science was taught and practiced at St. Andrews High School. We even had animal husbandry. We didn't get into the details of everything that was done at St. Andrews. We had apart from the academics, we had the vocational section of St. Andrews, because it was understood that not all students excelled in academic subjects. We had mechanics at one point. I am not sure about woodwork, but there was animal husbandry. And we had, you had
the full works. You had the full
we had the
works.
full works. I boast St. Andrews every day, every chance I get. We had an auditorium. We had an auditorium with a canteen. We had a full lab. We had a physics lab, a chemistry lab, a biology lab, right? We had a designated area for a staff room. We had a library at our school, right? We had housing for our teachers and principals. So St. Andrews High School, I mean, we can go on and on about talking about St. Andrews. So there is so much to talk about.
We'll have to welcome you guys back. We'll have to welcome you guys back.
So I want to take the opportunity, Lofty, for affording us the opportunity to come and help us to share the message about the St. Andrews High School Grand Reunion 2025.
Thank you. Thank you indeed. Mr. Robin, Miss Irish, thank you very much. Our pleasure every time.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Great show, Lofty. Great show.
Bless up.
Yeah.
All right. Have a good night.
Found myself singing this song in the candles burn. That will overcome this crisis and restore security and peace. In the candles burn. In the candles burn. So we'll plan in case of emergency.
Yes, folks, we are keeping the candles burning, as said Father Branca Briggs John.
New direction for the nation to the next millennium. Tell me.
In the interest of our country and its people. Let's keep those candles burning. Let's play our part to make our country great again. Okay, folks, that was the first segment of our program here. Talking about the Grand Reunion Plan 2025, July, that is. From some folks from the St. Andrews High School. So please support the event, huh? Rampant public corruption and immoral nonsense shown on television. Should be mapping for not caring. Government not censoring. Segment number 2 is up next. It's 6:58, 2 minutes to 7 o'clock. So 7 o'clock, we'll be moving across to the brother Michael Astafan. To save their children's souls. So in the meantime and between time, if you want to take that all important break, now is the time to do just that and come back. Myself singing this song, here we candles burn. For the children who go astray, Papa God will show them the way. Here we candles burn. Here we candles burn. That the businessmen in our country sell the humanity for big money. No, a new direction for the nation in the. So all of you glued on the live feed, thank you very much each and every time for your eyes and ears. You've been living miracles, then lights a candle. And for your various comments thus far. Because of you, yes, we are. So your company is always, always treasured. I see some folks like Don Africa Joseph, you're there. She writes, great job, good outreach and representation for the St. Andrews High School. Brother Alvin Thomas is writing here. He's supposed to be here, you know, but he's writing. He says he'll be a little late. Brother Alex Powell Bruno, you're there as well. Good evening to you. Ivinia, Joseph, Annette, Thomas, and the list goes on and on and on. All right, folks, guess what? It is 7 o'clock. And thank you, Father John, indeed, for that song entitled Keep the Candles Burning. But now we're going to turn to businessman Michael Astafan. Good evening to you, my brother.
Good evening, Lofty. Very good program on St. Andrews. Any organization that can bring in 500 people will do us a service, a massive service.
True.
I wish them all the best because it's an opportunity to create something for Dominica beyond, you know, their education. I hope that comes through.
Indeed.
Lofty, this evening is a very interesting time because there's a lot going on in Dominica right now, a lot, and I'm not too sure that we can keep up with it. We need several teams working in several areas to be able to manage what is going astray in Dominica, but it's a massive problem. This evening, you know, I just want to mention the situation with the Wasco. I caught
Michael, before you go, just there, let me, on behalf of Civic Vibes, I know Arundel Thomas, and not Arundel, Alvin Thomas and yourself have been, you know, dialoguing back and forth. Hence, you are here tonight. But on behalf of the team now, let me thank you very much for coming on tonight and basically, you know, trying to help people understand the predicament in which we have found ourselves here in Dominica as it relates to some of our utility companies here. You're a businessman, you're very outspoken, brother. I heard you spoke on that topic and other topics before. And you're no nonsense man. You don't put water in your mouth, as it were, to speak the truth in particular. And so on behalf of the many folks listening and viewing, Michael Astafan, thank you very much for being that man of integrity that you are in Dominica, who, against all odds, continue to do and say what needs to be done in the interest of your country. So again, thank you and welcome.
Well, thank you very much for the opportunity. Um, there are several things going on in Dominica right now, but I'm very much concerned about the utility services and some of the failures of this administration to understand what utility companies are and that they betraying the trust given to the people in these utilities, in managing these utilities. The utilities supposed to publish their annual report and their auditing statements, table it in Parliament. They don't understand that responsibility. The people give you an opportunity to manage the service, and water is a life service, and that the law or the Water and Sewage Act is very clear. When you deliver in that service, because of its nature, you have to ensure every year you report to the people, and you report to the people by having an independent auditor audit your books. The shareholders, which is the government, and the minister managing the WASCO, they also, whatever report you do, must be um, indicate your relationship with the utility. And I noticed a trend in Dominica in that regard. It's what you call interested parties. Okay? You must, shareholders who are 50% or 10%. I'll give you an example. I looked at St. Lucia Utilities, the electrical company. They own 10% of Lucilec, which is the St. Lucia Power Company. When you look at the audited reports, Lofty, it tells you what services Lucilec give to the government, what the value of that service is, and whether or not the government has paid all the services. So you know the standing of the utility, because we, as individual owners of Domlec, we are what you call minority shareholders in the WASCO, regardless of what we feel. But we are the owners, and we have shareholders representing our interests, which is the government and the minister. The WASCO have not tabled these reports. I tried to get the audited reports from the WASCO for several years. I went to see the manager. I couldn't get them because he told me that he need to seek permission to give it to me. So I had to go through something like 100 and something gazettes to see whether this report was tabled in Parliament. And when I reached 2016, I gave up because I had all the gazettes and I couldn't see one where any audited statement or report by the auditors on the WASCO was tabled in Parliament. So that is of great concern. But in addition to that, the board of directors and the manager gave a press conference, and they cited millions of projects of millions of dollars that the WASCO owed money, and if they didn't increase the rates, the WASCO would not be able to even rectify any problem if we had a disaster, because they didn't have money for supplies, so that if we have a disaster, then they cannot guarantee that they would give us water on time. Words to that effect. And I found that very insulting, because the Act clearly says, Section 27 of the Act, that the WASCO has to report to the people annually, and they have to give an account of the cost of the service, and they have to ensure that whatever they do, the money they earn is sufficient to pay for the service that they offer.
Some people, they don't know which side, they don't want to let you know.
Okay? So, having read that section 27, I was appalled because you do not refuse to table or report to the people, and now you're coming back and ask them to pay a fee. Good evening, Alvin. And that is the major problem.
Hi, Michael.
Concern. Hi, Alvin. How are you doing?
Good, man. Good.
So so Alvin, I'm just outlining, my situation with Dominic and how I got interested in the program and why I think it's important to notify the public. Okay? Because if you're going to ask people to pay an increase in their rates, then you have to ensure that you follow the law. The law requires you to have an audited statement, manage your affairs in such a way that any time it increases by 1-2%, you report to the people. But that was never done for the last 8 to 10 years. I don't know how far back, but I stopped at 2016. Now, this is violating the law, the Water and Sewage Act. And when I checked in the Gazette, you could see in most of the years that the annual report or the AGM was announced. So if they were having AGM, it means that the auditors already prepared the audited statement. So for some reason, the government felt it wasn't our business to know how much Dominic was costing. But all of a sudden, they want to give what they call an access charge. Now, that access charge is not based on your consumption. For residents, poor residents who pay $28, $30, in the $20, $30, you cannot ask them a 50% increase. That, according to the law, is unfair and unreasonable. But what is more appalling, there's a Public Utilities Act where you have a Public Utilities Commission, which is an independent person. It's somebody appointed by the Bar Association who is independent. Okay? And the persons on the Public Utilities Board cannot have family members within the administration of government or politicians. Okay? So it is clear that they recognize that public utilities have to be managed in a very open and transparent way. But this has fallen down the drain. And you find that they're telling you, we want you to pay access charge without following the laws of Dominica. So the access charge that they're charging us is not only illegal, I mean, it's not only unfair to consumers, but it's illegal and unreasonable. So I wrote the manager and I explained to him, I gave him the details of the act. I think I sent that letter to Alvin. I outlined where they violated the act and the recourse we had with the Public Utilities Commission, we no longer have it. But while the WASCO gives you some recourse, but if you have a company not following the law, when you go to them, you don't expect them to report to you. So I wrote him because I felt it was important to notify him and the minister that the Public Utilities Commission need to be, you have not nominated persons to it, and that this is if I have a problem with the service.
Which manager you wrote that letter to, Michael? Which manager?
I wrote the manager of the WASCO, and I copied it to the minister responsible for the WASCO.
Okay. Would you mind share some of the contents of those writings to us, with us?
Well, the letter to the minister, to the first letter I wrote him, outlined in detail. It was dated the July, I think the 24th. Yeah, that's it, July the 24th. And it outlined section 27. I can read some 27 and 28. Section 27 says that the company shall so exercise and perform its function as to ensure that its revenues are not less than sufficient to pay compensation when required to do so, cover operating expenses, including taxes, if any, and to provide adequate maintenance, appreciation, and interest payments on borrowing. Meet periodic repayments on long-term indebtedness to the extent that any such repayment exceeds the provisions for depreciation. Create reserves for purposes of future expansion and the sum required for any of the purposes of the company, so that it shall be met out of the funds and resources of the company. Subject to subsection 1, the company may, in such manner as it considers appropriate, but subject to the approval of the minister, borrow sums required by it for meeting any of the obligations and discharge any of the functions. So this section has been violated, because if you have to carry out any of those sections for 10 years, 8 to 10 years, and you have not reported to the people, it says that you feel the obligation to the people because it's a public utility. Okay? And they tell you where a consumer has a problem, you know. And section 28 tell you what they can do for the funds and resources of the company, what it shall consist of. Okay? But section 33 is the other one that they violated. They violated section 27, 28, and I put that in the letter, and I explained to him that the WASCO audited statement do not appear in any of the gazettes dating back to 2018. This is a disservice as the WASCO. This is a disservice as the WASCO. The minister, this is a disservice as the WASCO, the minister, and shareholders have forfeited consumers' rights to monitor the utility service in order to justify whether the services provided are fair and reasonable. When the Speaker of the House of Assembly was contacted for copies of the WASCO's audited statement tabled to Parliament over 5 years, his response, it may be because the minister did not approve the statement. Okay, he told me so. So I had to tell him what the section where they had to report. Section 43 said, and section 43 says, it shall be the responsibility of the company to prepare a budget for each financial year, to prepare proper accounts and proper records in relation to the accounts, to prepare in respect of each financial year statements of accounts. As soon as, now section 2 of that 43 says, as soon as the statement of accounts mentioned in subsection 1 is audited in accordance with subsection 3, right? The company, section 3, the company shall send to the minister a copy of any report made by the auditor thereon, and the minister shall lay a copy therefore before the House of Assembly. They failed to do that for over 8 years. All accounts of the company shall be audited by a qualified auditor, that's section 33.3, appointed by the company with the approval of the minister. Okay, so these are the great violations that they perpetrated against the people. So you're not giving an account, and then you just come in and you give in. Now, if you read the Public Utilities Act, it tells you any fee or any increase of fee or rate, and the fee might be the access fee they have, must be related to your consumption. So, and the Public Utilities Commission, any fee more than 20% would be considered exorbitant, unfair. So you do not want to go to a consumer with an increase. So when the WASCO sends its audited statement, if the consumers notice that it's going to go off, or the Public Utilities Commission, because under the Act, they have to give a copy of the report to the Public Utilities Commission. If they notice in that the cost of the service is increasing, it could be from mismanagement, it could be for fraud, it could be for several factors. So they have to address that. And if when they address it, the cost is more than the revenue, they must arrange a price increase. But you don't wait for it to come with 100% or 50%, because public utilities is something that if you go more than 10% or 15%, people up in arms.
So Michael, in a nutshell, what I'm getting from you, sir, is that the increase that the WASCO basically put on the backs of the Dominican people, that you're saying based on what you're reading as per law, that is illegal?
Yes, they did not follow. First of all, the WASCO has to make an application to the minister and also send a copy to the Public Utilities Commission. There's no Public Utilities Commission. The minister approves. But what did they approve? A rate, a charge that is not based on your consumption. Because if I'm consuming $30 and you ask me to pay $15 access charge, which is the lowest charge, that is a 50% increase. In public utilities, that is not fair and reasonable. Okay? That is one. Two, Marino Enterprises is a small business. Our average pay for the last 5 years was $65 to $66. Okay? Now, they gave me $175 access charge. When I add that to $68, my rate increased by over 350%. Monthly rate. That cannot be considered in a utility to be fair and reasonable. But you did not follow the law. First of all, you did not report to Parliament. You did not table to Parliament. So how can you come to the people now that you need money for? Oh, I need money. And you list over 10 loans that you take in and you all had difficulty to pay. That was the chairman said they had difficulty to pay. Okay? And when you total the loans that he listed, it's over 89 million. All right? But when I investigate the loans, Lofty, most of them are what you call grants. The government has to meet counterpart funds, and WASCO had to meet small amounts of it. So there's no way the loan is so why are they quoting these big loans is to give us and to give us this sort of information. But what is worse, before the access charges law, it must be gazetted. They said it was gazetted in April this year. We went April, May, June. We even went to March. It was never gazetted. So it's not law. So it's illegal. We need to follow the law. The rule of law is clear for utilities. Okay? And there's a factor that maybe, because while I was on Matt talking, a fella said, look, they gave a fella a project to do. The man messed up the project. It was a grant, and they had to take a loan to do the project. A caller. I don't know whether that is true or not. Okay? But if a caller can tell you Penville had a project, and they gave a fella who never hold a pipe wrench in his life to do the project, and then he messed up the project and they had to take a loan to do the project, then if you got a grant and you take a loan, who is responsible for the loan? This sort of thing. And if the government have to move people from Wesley and put them in the new area because they're building an international airport. That is government cost. It's not the consumer's cost. Because if I'm developing land and I'm selling it to put people, I have to put in the infrastructure. So we need the audited statement to let us know, one, that the projects are reasonable, it's a fair, the loans are fair, the rates are fair, because they have auditors of utility companies. When you audit a you can tell whether they bullshitting. No, we don't have how much money the government of Dominica owes the Wasco. They can't pay their bills. It's not the Wasco they're going to pay. All the schools are using the Wasco's water. All the government offices in Roseau and throughout Dominica are using the Wasco's water. It's a related party. The auditor must report on how much the Wasco owes. He can't be a shareholder and say, I'm a shareholder, I'm not paying that. But based on some of the outbursts of the shareholder who goes to meeting, which is the Prime Minister, he thinks that way. So he cannot expect not to pay his fee, and we now have to pay for his fee. So there's a thing they call related parties in a utility, where you must say the government of Dominica is the major shareholder or the only shareholder. His, he has how many connections, for sure, how much gallons, and he has to make sure that if he's getting a discount because it's the government and the only shareholder, how much it is, and whether or not he's paying his bills. We do not know that at all, because they never table it in Parliament. And why they didn't table it? The auditor may be finding problems in the management of the WASCO, and it's in the report. We need to know. But they never tabled it. So they've been dishonest. And what I understood, Lofty, in talking to members of the WASCO, they say, well, you in the news, they haven't even acknowledged receipt of my letter. So I told them that I'm not paying the access charge. I wrote them a letter. Marin Enterprises wrote them a letter telling them in no uncertain terms we are paying because it's illegal and unfair. Okay? And my lawyer told me not to pay it because it's illegal, it's unfair, it's discriminatory. Because you cannot ask me to pay 450% of what I used to pay. If you're charging everybody 10% across the board, I don't have a problem, or 15%, I don't have a problem. But you can ask me to pay 350%. And if somebody, the minister comes, he say, oh, well, that person make them pay $45 is a business. Indiscriminate people are going there and they're changing their rates.
So you're saying, Michael, here that the letter that you wrote to Mr. Etienne, the manager of the WASCO,
he has not acknowledged receipt.
Okay.
He has not acknowledged receipt. So it's looking like they want me to go to consumers and tell them we want to arrange don't pay Dominica month, don't pay the WASCO month. That is what they want us to arrange, and to go outside of the WASCO and demonstrate. I wrote as a concerned citizen. I outlined the act, so much so that the letter I wrote them, I published it, I sent it to certain people. A lawyer read the land and told me she's representing some people and she's going to deal with that because she read the act and I'm correct in my letter. Everything I said in my letter to them is correct. And my lawyer told me the same thing. So we have a major problem in Dominica where you have the regulators are non-existent. There's no regulator for Dawasco right now. Okay, no regulator because the Public Utilities Commission does not exist, and you cannot have a utility company functioning for an essential service as water and that they're not accountable to anybody. So that is the situation with it. And I would like to hear from some of your listeners as to their concerns, because it is looking like I have to begin my members of those of us who prepared that. It's not me alone doing that. We have a lawyer, an auditor, and myself, with one or two other persons, including Alvin. I send it for Alvin. Or anything I do, I send it for him to review it. And we are doing that. And we're not doing it for payment. We're doing it because that's not how you run a country. You must run a country by the rule of law. You have a law to follow. And if I were, what a staffer told a member of a close friend of mine, oh, Michael should not have gone to the media. Oh, he go to the media, now he wants us to change it. I don't understand. If you're doing something that's illegal, as a company, you need to be respectful to the rule of law. Okay, so the management of the WASCO needs to recognize the management, the minister, the PS, and the shareholder need to understand that we need to do things correctly. If you're going to institute a charge, an access charge or access fee, and a rate, because I have seen utilities company mismanaged, right? And what did they do? To get the company managed properly, when they allow those things to go for 10 years, you cannot, the company reach a stage where they cannot get a loan. So they have to get a fee that they charge. Remember when Dominica couldn't pay its loan and they had workers pay a levy? Remember that on our salary?
Yes, I remember those days. Yes, I remember.
Right. Well, they come up with the loan that they have to pay, and based on the consumers they have, what can you do? So they say, okay, the loan is 20 million. If all of us pay 5 cents increase on a unit, on a gallon, or whatever, or 10 cents on 1,000 gallons, in 3 years we can pay that off. So they give you an access fee or a fee for the loan that in 3 years we will bring back the company, and then they appoint consumers to manage or as oversight of the company. We don't have that in Dominica, and we need that. And I went to Domlec, and the major shareholder, which is government, I can tell you, the report, I have the annual report. It doesn't say how much. I spoke to the IRC. How can you accept that? And they did not recognize that there was no related parties reported in that, and they told me they're going to do something about it. They cannot accept that report. They have to write both the auditor and Domlec.
Yeah.
I just went to a meeting they had, and the regulator apologized and told me he's going to deal with it, because we do not know how much money government of Dominica owes Domlec, and they have to include it as a related partner. Okay.
Well, Astafan, it seems as if you're not the only lone wolf in the woods crying out, as it were. We have some comments coming in here just before we take a mid break. It says here, somebody comments as truns. So why didn't they refer to your letter to avoid you from taking it to the media? That is a question this brother is asking. Kelvin Francis is writing here. I have written to the WASCO telling them that I will not pay the increase. I also asked the manager for his authority for the increase. He ends by saying, I have not received a response, not even an acknowledgement. So here it is, another businessman, Kelvin Francis, basically got the same treatment in terms of no response, not even an acknowledgement from the WASCO.
Lofty.
Yes, Alvin.
Lofty. Yeah, if I may just come in briefly there. As I said, I'll just pop in for a while. I do apologize for not being able to be there earlier. But basically, Lofty, from what Michael have just said there.
Alvin,
if you listen,
Alvin, okay, your network is a bit low. It is recording low. So okay. I'm gonna take that mid break now, and then when we come back, Then see if you can go somewhere in a better signal area so that we can hear you a bit better, and we'll take your comment. All right?
Okay.
We're gonna take that break about now. We'll be back in just a bit.
Yeah, man. One today.
King Dice sings about water. That's the topic we're discussing tonight, that and electricity.
Everything in life that live and breathe need air. Gallons flowing daily to the sea. In the abundance of water in Dominica, we should just be paying a maintenance fee. Utility companies here too quick to punish the suffering public. If you can't pay your water bill on time, you will die thirsty or living stinking in your waterland.
All right, folks, if you're just tuning in at this time, we're talking to businessman Michael Astafan.
Water is life.
Read the utility companies in Dominica and the latest increases. The Wasco and Domlec, you guys are under the microscope tonight, huh?
You can cut my line.
But to be fair and balanced, I myself going to reach out to Mr. Michael, to Mr. Etinoff from the Wasco, because Mr. Astafan is making some serious situations here, especially calling his action as manager of the Wasco illegal. So yes, I'll be reaching out to Mr. Etinoff for his response.
Yes, to Wasco.
All right, folks, the numbers to call into the program later, 245-2396 or 615-9470. These numbers are stringing along your screen as we speak. Let's take one more verse from King Dice, and we're going to get back to Brother Alvin Thomas.
COVID-19 lockdown, hundreds of customers online for water, risking their lives to pay their water bills on time. We know that your service cannot be free, no way. But the Wasco must consider the economy. Dominica can sell enough water to the world over, and the Dominicans upriver even raise the salaries of the workers and the managers.
All right, basically Dice himself is pleading for the workers in song. Let's get back to Mr. Michael Astafan, the live panel here. Brother Alvin Thomas, are you there? Alvin? Alvin, are you listening? Are you there?
Yes, Lofty, I'm there. Can you hear me a little better now?
Yes, much better, yes.
Okay, sorry about that. No, I was saying, Lofty, based on what Michael has said so far, it's a clear indication, Lofty, and that has permeates throughout the entire breadth of Dominica. This government don't give a damn about law and order in the country. They violate every bit of legislation you have. So based on what Michael have just said, they are in clear violation of the Wasco Act. Clear violation. When you read the various sections and you analyze it, it's a clear violation of the Act. The same thing is done with the Electricity Act. There's an Electricity Act that governs the management of electricity. That has been violated. You have the question of the Solid Waste Act. The Solid Waste Act is a document that manages solid waste. They have violated that as well. Okay? The solid waste mandates a levy, a collection of a fee for the purposes of managing solid waste on the island. And it's my understanding that they collect in the tune of $1 million a month, some 12 million or plus dollars. And even with that revenue, they're not able to provide trucks or equipment to pick up solid waste around the island. So this government is just violating every bit of legislation. And it is time, Lofty, that Dominicans put their feet down and take some action. And I would hope, based on what I've heard from Michael so far, that there be a complete no pay of that levy. Consumers should just refuse, period. Private businesses, everybody should refuse paying that excess water rate that they have charged the people. And let's see what will happen.
And those basically, those who paid Alvin to deduct their future rates from it.
Absolutely, deduct the future rate. So I think, as Michael said, the WASCO Act is clear. You're supposed to table a report to the Parliament indicating the operations of the business, how much revenue you've collected, what your expenditure is like, and the whole 9 yards. So there is transparency. There is no transparency, there is no accountability, there is no observance of rule of order. So I think it is time that Dominicans take some action on this matter. And I think there are 3 indications. I mean, you just said from Michael, he went to this meeting and the IRC recognized some deficiency in the report. And yet you want to come and say you're going to impose some increase or levy on people's utility. You have a utility, how you call it, a utility act, a company that's not functioning. I mean, this is just a total madness. And I think we have gotten to the point, Lofty, where Dominicans need to seriously ask themselves what's going on. You heard the Prime Minister in Parliament. Here you are discussing a matter of electoral reform, okay? Electoral reform has no political color. It should have no political color, no political party biasness. But he goes in the Parliament and he threatens Dominicans and say, oh, he's not scared of them. You think I'm soft, but I'm not scared of you guys. And with all your demonstration. There's also minority has to be observed in a democracy. It's not just about majority rule. And you're going as far to say this Labour Party knows how to mobilize. So what are you saying? The electoral reform is a Dominican Labour Party thing? Is that what you're suggesting? So meaning that if the Labour Party don't get it way with the electoral reform, you will mobilize your base to come against Dominicans who speak out of electoral reform. So clearly, you can see across the board that this administration do not have any regard for law and order. And I think it's time that Dominicans take the appropriate action and do what needs to be done to bring some order and decency to how we do things and govern things in Dominica. So that's my little contribution for now. I'm going to be in and out because, like I told you, I have some guests showed up, to my house, and that's given me a little challenge. But I just wanted to interject. Michael and I, as Michael indicated, and the other persons who are part of that, we are discussing the details of that. And to the extent where if we need to take some legal action on the matter, then yes, that will also be considered. But we're asking Dominicans now to refuse from paying the rate as a start. Let's protest and don't pay those increases that they have imposed, that was imposed on the people of Dominica and businesses.
All right, Alvin, thank you very, very much. Yes, thanks.
Okay, I want to read Section 45(2) of the WASCO Water and Sewage Act. If within 60 days of receipt of the notice under Section 1, the minister approves the changes to the authorized rates and the rates proposed by the company or any variation thereof agreed to by the company, then notwithstanding anything contained in any of the enactments, the authorized rate shall be changed in accordance with such proposal, including any variations thereon, as aforesaid, and the minister shall by regulation cause notice of such changes of rates, and changes to be published in the Gazette. It has not been done. So it is illegal. Section 31. Now the Public Utilities Act, there's a section that says, where it appears that the public utility is not fulfilling its obligation under enabling laws. The Commission may, with the approval of the Minister and after a public inquiry in accordance with the Act, by order, require the public utility within the time specified in the order to take such remedial measures as may be specified. So, but the Public Utilities Act is not functioning, and the Public Utilities Commission is responsible to ensure that all utility rates are fair and reasonable. And you cannot wait 10 years to come and tell them to do 50%. So it's mismanaging the company. You don't even know if you're making money. It don't make sense what they're doing. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And as Alvin said, throughout whatever I look at, my analysis of the solid waste company, I did an analysis in 2008. Okay, it was costing less than $2 million at the time. Okay, to handle our solid waste. I forgot the exact figure, but they were collecting about 9 million, right, a year, and the solid waste management was less than 5 million by far, and they always had a problem for parts for the car, for fuel, for everything. So much so that when I brought it to the attention of the public, the Prime Minister said, "Oh, he just had to pay how much $1,000 for insurance for the trucks." But the Act, the Solid Waste Act, tells you, you go to Parliament and tell the people, we're going to charge you 2.5% levy to collect your garbage. Now, you cannot go and spend that money on nothing else but solid waste management. At the time I did my first investigation in 2008, the people were not getting $5 million a year. They were collecting $9 million. So what happened to the other $4 million? He never went to Parliament and said, look, solid waste is doing so well. The levy is doing so well. We have an extra $4 million. Can I use it? Go to Parliament and use it for something else? He just spent the money illegally, because all that money is supposed to go in an account for solid waste management, recycling, and everything. But that money was never given to solid waste. That is illegal. You cannot spend people's money without following the rule of law. If you go to Parliament and ask the people money to build a school, you can't take it and do something else, you say, for the public. That is mismanaging the resources of the state. And that is the nature of this organization. Even Lofty, anything you look at, I tell you, I went through the estimates. If you go on the website of the Solid Waste Management Company, you see the head of the company is the Minister of Health. Okay? Nowhere on their website they have any cost or what they're doing with the money that the people are giving them. Okay? So I say, well, let me go to the estimates. I go into the estimates, Ministry of Health. And nowhere in the Ministry of Health you can see a line item for solid waste. So I wanted to know how much solid waste was costing the government and whether or not the 12 million they're making was sufficient, because they say they want to levy a fee on us. But it's not, there's no line item. The account for the section for the levy is 130012 or 120013. If you look at the estimate, that is the line item to show how much money they collect for solid waste on the estimates. Okay, and what's their forecast? They're forecasting more than 12 million for 2025. Okay, yet solid waste annual general statements, I wrote them a letter asking them if I can get it. So I hope I could go to the office and pick them up. but they may tell me it is confidential. But public utilities like solid waste management is something you call it in taxpayers' money to do. They have to give, it's a public document. And this is what this government is failing to do. And in every respect, Lofty, I have a lot on my agenda. We have 4 of us taking the government to court on a serious matter, which you'll read about. And once it's filed, you will get documentation in where we're going with that. Because I think they're doing things wrong intentionally. Look, I understand that the UWP took them to court to account for the passport money. Well, I hope that thing is heard quickly and that we can move in that regard, because this is a serious thing. But in terms of the Dowasco thing, what I recommended to Dowasco in my last letter, I appealed to the manager that it is time that Dowasco appoints, seek through the Public Utilities Commission to appoint a group of persons to look at their operation and to come up with a measure that is fair and reasonable to consumers and based on their consumption. Because you cannot, look, I met a young lady, she was paying $26, and because she have a shop, they charge $100. 400%.
Yeah, on that note, Michael, Teresa Role is writing here. Teresa Susanna Role is writing here. How does the WASCO, and that's a very important question, how does the WASCO decide the size of a business? Do you have an idea? To justify their increases?
Well, I wanted them to tell me, the Inland Revenue told them, but they didn't tell me how they came up with it. I wrote them the letter, and you know one thing they did? In June, I refused to pay. I told them, and I sent him the letter, right? So my office called them and said that was too high. Do you know the July bill, they brought it to $100 without any basis, from 175 to 100, without any basis. If it's based on your consumption and you charge everybody 20% of their or 40% of their consumption as the levy, then everybody pays 40%. Or if you want to charge 10% in the rate and 20% of the average as your levy, because you need money urgently. But that 20% of the access charge shouldn't be a indefinite thing where you're mismanaging the company. If you have a debt you cannot pay from your present, because that's why we have an audit on board. If your present income doesn't allow you to service the debt that you have, then we can look at what additional income can service it, and then come up with a short-term thing for 3 to 4 years to put the WASCO back on track. You understand what I'm saying? Like we had the levy for the government debt. But you cannot just do something, nobody knows what you're doing. You have not met with the Public Utilities Commission. You have not met with the consumers. And you're applying to the minister. You know who represents the shareholders, Lofty? The FS and the Prime Minister.
The Financial Secretary?
And the Prime Minister.
Yes,
sir.
Just to answer that question.
Interesting.
Just to answer that question, the person asked Lofty. It's an arbitrary thing. That's the problem. It's arbitrary. There's no thought process or analysis going to it. So let's just charge a levy across the board. Let's ask small business 100. What determines a small business? Income, consumption, value, their revenue, number of employees they have. What constitutes a small business? So it's just an arbitrary thing. And as you heard from Michael again, and he quoted the various sections of the act, they have not conformed with the act. So it's just arbitrary. Feel well, okay, they got the system and institution continues to break down and people do as they want, and Dominica can just roll over and accept it. Oh, you guys complaining too much, blah, blah, blah. So they pay the rate, people will raise issues for 2-3 times, and then the Prime Minister will come and say, well, if you all talk about it, I know how to mobilize my people and get you guys to pay the rate. I mean, it's a clear disregard that if someone were to write you about the rate, as Michael have done, not even an acknowledgement of the letter, I mean, you may not agree with what he put in his letter, but yeah, at least you could give an acknowledgement and say, Mr. Asafan, I received your letter. The matter will be looked into, or we're looking into the matter, or whatever. But not even an acknowledgement. That shows you the level of contempt that we have in this country, the level of contempt for consumers.
Very, very interesting. Michael, just to get back to you, sir. In terms of the increase that the WASCO in particular placed on the backs of the consumers, can you go over in terms of the $15 for wow, how did they classify those increases? You're mute.
Sorry.
Yes.
Sorry, Lofty. Residents, $15. Small business, 100, medium size, 175, and I think large business, 800.
800, yeah.
To that effect.
Okay.
But it's not, most large businesses, they may have for instance, if you are a bank and you have 30 staff members, you may be paying $300. $800 is 400% increase, you know. So
because in truth and in fact, there may be some medium business size or some small business who's by nature, by what they do for their business to generate income, they may be consuming much more water than, say, a large business or considered to be a large business. And so hence what Thomas said a while ago, that kind of Vicky thing, and not go on consumption, then the WASCO in and they need to go back to the drawing board.
But there are some persons who consume more than people bottling water. If you go in Roseau, you will see some people washing cars and the hose whole day in the drain, you know, whole day. They haven't got a meter. If you have a meter, you don't do those things. You follow what I'm telling you?
Yeah.
You don't do those things. I mean, I was installing a heater in one of the country areas, and I saw a fellow doing something, and the hose wide open. I said, no, man. So about 2 hours later, when I gone back there, I still see the hose open. When I look, he doesn't have a meter. So in terms of what they're doing is sad. Now, I heard a landlord complaining when I went there. He has 3 apartments. He has one means. He's asking to give them 3 meters. They say they don't have meters. You can imagine that? You don't have meters. There you have a guy who is paying and they share in the meter. For it not to create a problem for him, he put a meter for everybody. They're telling him they don't have meters. So everybody would pay their $15. You understand? So this is in nature of things that has to be addressed. You need to meter everybody, and you need to ensure that the rates you charge are fair and reasonable. That is what the Public Utilities Act say. That is what the DOWASCO Act says. It has to be fair and reasonable. It has to be based on consumption, not the money that you need to correct your mismanagement of the company. It looked like somebody realized we need over 5 years, $40 million. Okay, let me see how many people, how are we going to pay that? Okay, if we take large businesses, how much we have? Okay, put on 200 large businesses, how many thousand medium-sized businesses, how many thousand 15 small businesses, and everybody $15. Oh yeah, man, in 5 years we'll make over 40 million, and that is it, you know. But for most consumers, it is doubling their rate, minimum. One of my properties is not doubling the rate because we're consuming about $80 a month. So paying $15 is like 20%. You follow what I'm saying, Lofty? So that can be fair and reasonable. But the others where they want to charge your business rate and or I just find it is wrong.
And just to be clear, Michael, is it just because someone is asking me that question privately? I have to ask you, is it just because Michael Astafan is under the wrath now of the WASCO by the increase that he's speaking out? He's calling out the WASCO.
I didn't get my bill when I wrote the first letter. I didn't get my bill. I just found it was unfair, an access charge, and and they announced what the rates were. I found that was unfair. I read the act. I fought cable. Remember, I fought cable and wireless.
Yeah. I was about to come in, Lofty, and let me answer that for Michael in response to the question. Anybody who knows Michael and followed Michael activism on the country in Dominica will know Michael speaks on issues that it affects the people. He was one of those who raised hells with Black Wireless years gone by. And even when he was president of DIC, when one had thought he would have taken a selfish position as a private sector, protect his own business, he spoke against things that were wrong. During the time during Freedom Party, I remember Michael Asavan who challenged. He was a sympathizer, a supporter of the party. He was once the leader of the party, political leader. And he challenged Eugenia on some of her economic issues she wanted to implement. So let me just say to that person who call you or WhatsApp you, that Michael has been someone that's been talking on issues. And that is the problem that, part of the problem we confront in Dominica. Too often, we tend to look at the messenger, not the message. Let's focus on the message, not the messenger. The fact that the Wasco, Domlec, solid waste, all of these utilities are just taking advantage of the consumer in an environment where the economic hardship is there. And that is what we have to deal with. That's the bottom line. It has nothing to do with whether it's hurting Michael, because it's not only hurting Michael. Michael might be well enough to pay the money as a business. If they're advocating on behalf of the rest of the consumers who are facing the brunt of that, and that's what the consumers need to stand up and take a stand on this particular matter. The same thing with electoral reform. We're all here trying to say, well, it's not my business, is they should do this. It affects all of us. Because if we get
all right, Alvin, you fell off the grid, as it were, but we got the gist of your comment. Yeah, Michael, it's 8 o'clock, so we have to wrap it up in just a bit. Alvin, are you back?
Yes, I'm back. No, I was saying if we get the wrong people elected into office, that's why we have poor management, bad administration, corruption. So I think this is what we need to deal with as a people.
Yes, indeed. Someone is writing there, sin fair shilling for the rights here. Totally unfair. The whole country should withhold the extra charge. And that is the sentiment, the general sentiment that I'm seeing coming across the live feed on here. And some persons WhatsApping me privately. Some persons like to remain anonymous.
Well, in closing, Loftus, I would like to tell the public that the issue of the access charge, we need to hold the WASCO accountable. And I'm thinking of moving forward, appealing to our people to have a September month as don't pay the WASCO access charge month. And if they don't come to us by the end of September, we will also make October a do pay the WASCO access fee October month, okay? Because they need the money and they need to get their act together and they have to do it properly. They can't just willy-nilly get things, and next thing you know, when they get in money, rather than managing the company properly, they may be having some very often board meetings with high-level stuff. I don't know what they do, but we need to know the auditor's report and the management report that they receive from the auditor, that everything is fair and dandy and it's not as is. You just come up with a fee and just drop it on people. You cannot do those things. It's against the Utility Act, Public Utilities Act, and I will appeal to the minister and the PS to appoint members to the Public Utilities Commission. The PS asked me, what is the Public Utilities Commission? He didn't know about it. I told him I knew in the 90s that they made some amendments because of the IRC and ECTEL, but it still existed because there was a gentleman who retired in 2003, and since after that they never constituted that Public Utilities Act. So we do not know how our public utilities function. Okay, their purchasing is one of the things that they have to look at. Public utilities have to look at what they buy, because a lot of times they fail because they buy things for 2.5 price, the going price from individuals. They need to have tenders board to review it and take the best price for the best quality. And these are the kind of things we're appealing to them to do. So you may be hearing from me in the media. I have to write DBS and Kyrie for time to expose the matter, and also to give our position at the Freedom Party on the Electoral Commission and on the Solid Waste Act. And if they refuse to give me, well, you know, I will take it up in the next major case I have against them. So I want to thank you for inviting me, you and Alvin for inviting me on this media, and I look forward to be a host in the near to distant future.
Indeed, indeed. Michael Astafan, businessman, thank you very much for sharing some of your thoughts. Your concern / the Dominican people concern, the increases, especially where the Wasco and Domlec is concerned. Yes, thank you again. Thank you.
You're welcome. Good evening to all listeners.
Good evening. All right, just some final comments here before we wrap things up here. Clyde Gregoire writes, every time someone observes there is a problem affecting them and talks about it, someone comes up with some kind of false allegation against the person, not knowing that the person point might just be saving them. That is a point from Mr. Gregoire. Cleville Mills is on and is writing here, Alvin is mixing the utility rates with electoral reform. But Alvin, that's that response to Mills is for a next program, right? I just thought I'd punch it there. Ferdinand Lawrence, right? Thank you, sir, for taking a stand on behalf of all Dominicans. Marshall Lawrence, right here. This is the kind of result Dominica needs when someone who knows the rules stand up on behalf of the people. Yes, so folks, these are some of your comments based on your listenership tonight. Thank you very, very much indeed. Alvin, any final comment from you?
Yes, Lofty, let me just as well thank Michael for the work that he has been doing on behalf of the people of Dominica. Michael is not doing that for Michael Astafans alone. Michael is making that representation on behalf of the people of Dominica. And let me just, in response, just in passing to one of your viewers' comment, to say, which I've always said all the time, that election have consequences. Election have consequences. If you don't get the right government in place, then that's the result that you get. Your institutions are compromised, your institutions are not transparent, your public utilities and your public corporations do not operate as they should, because each one of those corporations that we mentioned tonight falls under a minister of government. So if you don't have the right government in place, then that's the results that you get. So to say that mixing up issues is absurd. But let me thank all those who were on. Michael has put out a call to action. I think that's what we do here on Civic Vibes as well. We don't just come and say stuff. We say stuff to provide information, to educate the people, and to get you to take some kind of action. And he has put forward a call to action. And that call to action is that folks should not pay that increase. Continue paying their regular bill. Whatever their regular bill is, continue paying it. But do not pay that additional increase. And like he said, if by the end of September it continues, continue the call to action and the protest in October and November as need be. Do not pay it until it is done properly. Nobody's saying that you can't impose an increase. That's not the question. It's how it's done. There's a process. There's a procedure to do it. And let's just follow the procedure. If the acts call for certain things to be done and certain matters to be taken, then let's do that. But don't just arbitrarily just impose levies on people. And folks must just roll and play dead and like nothing happened. No, we must not allow that to happen. So again, thank you, Lofty. Thanks for all those. I wish everybody have a pleasant week coming up and stay safe. And until next time again, when we have some other conversation that affects the people. We do that on behalf of the people and for the people of Dominica.
Thank you.
How you want that? Big boss, let me come in, let me come in, let me come in.
We end with this one, talks about seeking accountability.
Get away from this one. It's the crime and the nation demand.
Let's take that from the very, very top, where this brother is asking for accountability in government. That is basically, in a nutshell, what Michael Astafan was asking for tonight. Read the utility companies here.
Waiting, if you can start, how you want start? Big boss, let me come in, let me come in, let me come in. Well, you can't get away from this one. It's the crime and the nation demand. You collect so much money from we, and you empty the whole treasury. All we want to know, where the money go, how you moving so. People, you must show what we want, accountability. What we need, accountability. For AIA, accountability. Metro Carib, accountability. PD man, accountability. Pakistan, accountability. You could dance on the head of a pin, but you know you committed a sin. You set up them bogus companies just to hide the corruption from we. When to parliament to get your consent, now the money spent.
So all those of you tuned in tonight, thank you very much.
Accountability.
It's 8 minutes past the hour of 8 o'clock. And so that is where we come to the end of yet another program called Civic Vibes.
Accountability.
To the folks who were there for the first segment, that is Miss Irish and Mr. Robin.
Accountability. Hey.
For this grand reunion where the St. Andrews High School is concerned for July of 2025. Thank you very, very much indeed. Folks, please support that effort. And the second segment with Mr. Michael Astafan, asking for just what that song is talking about, accountability, where our company, the utility companies, they're concerned. Mr. Michael Astafan, thank you very, very much, brother.
Because we asking questions, all you show is your vexation. You're so arrogant, give us what we want, can be wrong and strong. You're taking too long, what we want, accountability.
What would the program be without you folks out there?
Accountability.
So yes, to you and you and you, thank you very much for your eyes and ears each and every time. See you guys next week, Sunday, same time, same place. Bye-bye from the Civic Vibes team. Lofty, I love you.
From this man, accountability. What we want, accountability. What we need, accountability. For AIA, accountability. Metro Carib, accountability. PD man, accountability. Practice man, accountability. What we want,